Vikings Kingdom. Are you ready for this? Because what I'm about to drop on you is going to completely shatter everything you thought you knew about this team's championship aspirations. We've been building up to this moment through two explosive breakdowns, and if you've been following along, you know we're not talking about small moves or depth signings. We're talking about franchise-altering acquisitions that could catapult Minnesota from playoff contender to legitimate Super Bowl favorite overnight. The buzz around the Twin Cities has reached a fever pitch, and there's a reason why every NFL insider worth their salt has been whispering about what Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah is cooking up behind closed doors. This isn't just another offseason. This is the moment when championship windows either open wide or slam shut forever, and the Vikings are about to make a statement that echoes throughout the entire league. Before we dive into the bombshell that's going to have every NFC North rival losing sleep, I need you to absolutely annihilate that like button, because what we're about to reveal involves a defensive masterstroke that combines elite talent, perfect timing, and the kind of insider knowledge that separates championship organizations from pretenders. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you're about to miss out on the most important Vikings content of the entire offseason. The pieces have been falling into place all summer long, but what's about to happen transcends typical trade rumors or free agency speculation. We're talking about a player who represents everything this franchise has been building toward: youth, elite talent, untapped potential, and the kind of impact that transforms entire units. The stars have aligned in a way that happens maybe once every 5 years, and Minnesota is positioned to capitalize in spectacular fashion. But here's where this story reaches its climax. Sometimes the most valuable treasures are hidden in plain sight, buried beneath disappointing statistics and organizational dysfunction. What looks like one team's trash could become another team's championship foundation, and the Vikings analytical department has identified an opportunity that could define the next decade of football in Minneapolis. The name that's about to change everything for Vikings Nation. Greg Newsome II, the 25-year-old cornerback who should be entering the prime of his career, but instead finds himself criminally underutilized and potentially available for trade, represents the most intriguing acquisition target in the entire NFL. This isn't just another defensive back looking for a fresh start. This is a legitimate game changer who's been buried in Cleveland's dysfunctional system and is ready to explode onto the scene with the right opportunity. Let's talk about what we're really dealing with here. Newsome was the 26th overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, selected ahead of players like Asante Samuel Jr., Ifeatu Melifonwu, and several other corners who've had more consistent playing time. The Northwestern product came into the league with elite measurables, outstanding college production, and the kind of football IQ that translates immediately to the professional level. But here's where this story becomes absolutely fascinating. When Cleveland made that draft selection in 2021, guess who was sitting in their front office helping evaluate talent and make personnel decisions? That's right, current Vikings general manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. This isn't just about acquiring a talented player, this is about reuniting with a prospect that Adolfo-Mensah helped identify and develop, someone he knows intimately from a talent evaluation perspective. The connection runs even deeper when you consider what Adolfo-Mensah saw in Newsome during that draft process. The analytics, the film study, the interviews, the medical evaluations, all of that institutional knowledge transfers directly to Minnesota, giving them a massive advantage in any potential trade negotiations. They know exactly what they're getting, both in terms of talent and character, because they were part of the process that brought him into the league. What makes Newsome such an attractive target isn't just his pedigree. It's the combination of youth, proven production, and untapped potential that makes scouts salivate. In 2023, he recorded 14 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and 4 tackles for loss, while allowing just a 76.3 passer rating in coverage, according to Pro Football Focus. That's 76. 3 rating ranked 17th among 88 cornerbacks who played at least 500 snaps, which is elite production from a player who's supposedly having down years. The physical tools are exactly what Brian Flores dreams about when he's designing defensive schemes. At 6'0" with long arms, elite closing speed, and the kind of ball skills that create turnovers, Newsome has everything you want in a modern NFL cornerback. He's versatile enough to play multiple positions in the secondary, athletic enough to match up with elite receivers, and smart enough to handle complex defensive assignments without missing a beat. But here's the kicker that makes this opportunity so unique. Newsome's playing time actually decreased in 2024 despite being in his prime years. He logged just 521 snaps, his lowest total since his rookie season, and his PFF grade dropped from a consistent 68-70 range to 52.2. That's not because his talent disappeared overnight. It's because Cleveland's defensive system under Jim Schwartz couldn't properly utilize his skill set. The frustration is real and palpable. Multiple reports suggest that Newsome was unhappy with his reduced role and uncertain about his long-term future in Cleveland. When a 25-year-old former first-round pick starts questioning his fit with his current organization, that creates exactly the kind of trade opportunity that smart general managers dream about. From a financial perspective, the numbers actually work perfectly for Minnesota. Newsome is entering his fifth-year option worth $13.4 million, which sounds expensive until you realize that's actually below market value for a cornerback of his caliber. The Vikings would need to decide whether to exercise that option or work out a long-term extension, but either path gives them control over a premium player at a reasonable price point. The fit within Minnesota's defensive scheme is absolutely perfect. Brian Flores has built his reputation on maximizing defensive back talent and creating complex coverage schemes that confuse opposing quarterbacks. Newsome's versatility would give Flores endless options. He could play outside corner, slot corner, safety in certain packages, or even linebacker in specific situations. That kind of chess piece is invaluable in today's NFL. Imagine the secondary combinations that become possible with Newsome in the fold. Paired with Byron Murphy Jr. On the outside, Isaiah Rodgers in the slot, and the safety tandem of Harrison Smith and Josh Metellus, Minnesota could have one of the most dynamic and unpredictable defensive backfields in the entire league. The depth and talent would be suffocating for opposing passing attacks. The timing couldn't be more perfect either. Minnesota is clearly in championship mode with their current core, but they're also building for sustained success. Newsome is young enough to be a cornerstone piece for the next 5 to 7 years, bridging the gap between their current window and their future aspirations. He's not a rental player or a short-term fix. He's a legitimate foundational piece. What makes this potential acquisition even more compelling is how it addresses one of the few remaining question marks on Minnesota's roster. They've invested heavily in their defensive line, their linebacker core is solid, and their safety group is among the best in the league. Cornerback depth and elite talent has been the missing piece, and Newsome would solve that problem in spectacular fashion. The trade compensation wouldn't be prohibitive either. Cleveland is motivated to move on from a player who's clearly unhappy with his situation, and they're not going to command the kind of return you typically expect for a former first-round pick. A second or third-round pick, possibly with some conditional components, would likely get the deal done, and that's tremendous value for a player of Newsome's caliber. But here's what really makes this move a potential game changer. It's not just about what Newsome brings individually, it's about how his presence elevates everyone around him. When you have that kind of talent depth in your secondary, it allows your pass rush to be more effective, your linebackers to be more aggressive, and your entire defense to play with more confidence and swagger. The psychological impact on the NFC North would be immediate and devastating. Green Bay, Chicago, and Detroit are all building around explosive passing attacks. And suddenly they have to game plan around one of the most talented and versatile secondaries in the conference. That's the kind of acquisition that changes division dynamics overnight. So there you have it. Vikings faithful, the defensive masterstroke that could define the next chapter of Minnesota football. From the high upside reclamation project in Juju Brents, to the veteran leadership option in Matthew Judon, to the franchise-altering acquisition in Greg Newsome Tengen, the next few weeks are going to be absolutely crucial for the direction of this organization. The chess pieces are in position, the phone calls are being made, and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is about to show the entire NFL why the Vikings are ready to make their championship move. Make sure you're subscribed because this story is far from over. Smash that like button to show your support and let me know in the comments which of these moves has you most excited for the upcoming season. The purple and gold are about to make some serious noise and you're not going to want to miss a single moment of what's coming next. This is just the beginning, Vikings Kingdom. Buckle up for the ride of your lives.